Good morning, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's nice to be with you. This is a little introduction video to a wrist review that we have of the Rolex Explorer II. Now the reason I'm doing this little introduction is because this watch, this model, is likely to come to prominence this year in just a couple of months. The Explorer II celebrates its 50th anniversary this year, which makes it substantially older than me. It's only 5 years, 6 years. Anyway, it's its 50th anniversary, which means that Rolex, in their wisdom, do all kinds of things to celebrate their birthdays. We have been speculating at Time+Tide about what this could mean for the Explorer II. Obviously a new movement, but what else? Could we see a precious metal version? Could we see size adjustments like we've seen on the Sub? Some might speculate that it will go down in size to meet trends. Others will speculate that it will go up in size or stay the same, given that the Sub has just grown against all expectation. So, what is in store for this humble Explorer II? And where do we go from here? Let's take one last loving glance at the Rolex Explorer II before we move on to the new.
Is the Rolex Explorer II enough of a value proposition to be the Crown's ultimate tool watch? Yes, that's right, I said Rolex and tool watch, so while you might question this, I'll address it properly. In the Rolex Professional series, there are more tools than the iconic divers watches we know so well. Yes, these are tool watches, even if the impressive stats of both the Submariner and Sea-Dweller are sometimes forgotten due to the fact that they seem to fit perfectly under that suit jacket. The Explorer II is, well, for the explorer in you, and this is a proper value proposition within the Rolex range. But please, before we have a closer look at the crisp white Explorer II, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our new videos. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you comment below. The Explorer II is, unlike the divers watches, a more understated piece with its perfectionate brushed case and a no-nonsense steel bezel unashamed of its purpose. And that purpose is one of exploration. As a spin-off from the Everest-conquering Explorer, the first Explorer II came out in 1971. And just like the oft-neglected Milgauss, it has a specific purpose, and that ain't posing. If you don't know Rolex that well, you'll be surprised by its no-nonsense tough look, clean instrument-like dial, and a larger so-called maxi handset. My favorite is that flashy orange arrow for the GMT function. That orange GMT arrow is because the original Explorer II was meant for speleologists or cave divers, so maybe it should have been named the Subterranean. I'll leave that up to you. Here, the GMT function had its main purpose not for jet setting around the globe, but a critical one in enabling the wearer to tell night from day in the total darkness of a cave without GPS, thermal layers and Gore-Tex like today. Is that tough enough for you? But this is quiet yet tough companion with the same innate quality and less of the bling. So let's see if we fall for its understated charm. While understated, it has an unusual juxtaposition of demure brushed tool suit with the crisp freshness and that orange pop, and is nothing but a Rolex on the wrist with the uncanny ability to feel at home in 3 seconds. But the 42mm case is true to its size, and the white dial is intensely legible, cased in what to most people is the perfect medium size. While some Rolex aficionados definitely feel that the Explorer II is a tad large and the polar white dial certainly doesn't slim it down, it's got a proper purpose in life. Yes, while you might feel that the flash of orange will go perfectly with those Air Jordans that will never set foot on the rocky floor of a cave, I'll underline it, folks. This was made as a tool's tool, and for that legibility it gets a straight 100 points easy. So even with 42mm it aces it for comfort, and unless you have a very slim wrist, the fresh Explorer II will feel at home and disconcertingly quickly too. We all recognise familiar Rolex details, but here they are somewhat more casual while still exuding an unquestionable solidity, and there's something about the perfect whiteness of the dial surface which, with its chunky indices framed in black, works so well with the black lume-filled Mercedes hands. The Explorer II will most likely be found on page 1 of the ABC of legibility, Such is its balance, and the brushed bezel is refreshingly minimalist. The final Rolex touch is the classic cyclops in the crystal above the date window, as idiosyncratic and slightly unnecessary, but still, we wouldn't want to admit it, surely not. Even in a world of GMTs, subs and datejusts, the recognizable clues are all here, with the benefits of being the lesser seen Rolex. The quick hour adjust for the GMT hands work like a charm, and you'll be all set for traveling with this tough companion. While the Oyster bracelet is not the most groundbreaking design, but like the chunky Explorer II case, it's a perfect blend of solidity and a near perfect comfort, and you'll be hard pressed to make it exhibit even the slightest amount of flex over time. While this is not a small watch, the bracelet ergonomically tapers from 21 at the lug to a svelte 17mm at the clasp, a sure way of bringing the comfort, and that Oyster lock is as solid as a safe, with the 5mm leeway with a quick easy link, leaving adjustment on a hot day a doozy, and well, let's just name it one of the top 3 steel bracelets of all time. And the same goes for the case, and while I personally love it to be about 38 to 40mm and slimmer, it befits its purpose and is as annoyingly perfect as the bracelet. Almost like your child finally putting on that warm coat when she's cold after being told off and enjoying it. That's the same frown I've got while realizing I don't mind 42mm of perfection. In fact, it's just right. From the chunky lugs to the familiar smooth crown guards, in evolution, nothing is left to chance. The Explorer II is a center of speculation these days, as we do think it'll be tweaked in 2021, but maybe you should just get one of these now with the superb value they bring. The movement might be slightly long in the tooth, but the 3187 caliber is as accurate as befits the chronometer spec, and with its Paraflex system resistant to shocks. I did tell you it's a tool watch. My claim is that the Explorer is the perfect entry to the Rolex Professional range, and I'm sticking to it. I mean, what do you think so far? If, like me, you're not prepared to pay thousands above retail, or wait and wait and wait, it is hard to ignore the superb value of the brushed fresh look that the Explorer II brings to the wrist game. I might be torn between this and the black reference, as I usually prefer darker dials, but this polar white seriously pops with the orange touch. And while changes to the lineup might come this spring, this is a lot more than the sum of its part. Try it on and you might just be sold.